I don't know where that is. I have been looking for a beach. This is Beijing, by the way. I've been looking for a beach in Shanghai for a while. I know there are some, but nothing as gorgeous as that. That's amazing. Of course, in Beijing. Great place to go if you're visiting in China. Hello, welcome back. My name's Sterix, joined by Mr. Clement Chu. Tapped you for one good reason.
Yeah, and that was not a beach. Actually, Beijing isn't close to the ocean.
What was that?
I don't know. It was a sandbar, I guess.
A sandbar?
That's probably it.
Can you get drinks there at the sandbar? That's cool.
Oh, maybe we should check it out someday.
Hey.
That's the Australian.
Yeah, of course it is. But I'm in a different place. I'm in the RNG, LNG land. That was just a very quiet game. I mean, I don't think I'd expect a quiet game from RNG. But of course, they didn't have to do much when LNG came towards them. And they're like, yep, take the fight.
I don't think much divulged from the expected script.
Yeah.
Once you found the draft phase, you were like, okay, this is how the game is going to go. This is how
Exactly
RNG is going to end.
Yep.
And that's pretty much how it went.
And LNG's
exactly.
like, okay, well, we won't get to our point, right?
Yeah.
And that's the biggest argument.
That's the thing that why LNG is such an exciting team to watch, because a lot of their transitions, they actually have a lot of comeback games.
Yeah.
They're a very slow team. They have bad early games, and then they flip the switch, have Flande come in, they do a big team fight, and then suddenly they're back on the map. Unfortunately, against better teams, a lot of times they can't pull off the miracle team
Even
fight.
when Flande is performing well,
Yeah.
right? Because, like, that game, you know, our MVP, like, for RNG, it was just such a clean first game. And there's not much more to say than the fact that, like, they didn't let LNG get to their comfort. They were always on their toes. They always push LNG back.
Yeah, a lot of it does come down to Langx. I think Langx, even though he had a very defensive early game, he held out the lane against Akali, and later on, with the kills he was given, was actually able to push the lanes out. Now, here was a big transitioning point where LNG, with the Renekton and with the crowd control, had a chance to actually get a snipe onto RNG. It doesn't really happen, and RNG get their first big tempo advantage. They didn't have a lot of gold advantage, but they had a massive tempo advantage throughout most of this game. A large part of it was because in this Drake fight, they burn a lot of summoners, they get the kill, and they also pick up the mid lane tower afterwards. So even though LNG stopped the snowball from continuing by getting the Drake, it doesn't really put them in a favorable position. And same thing around this one.
I mean,
this was only 1K apart, but RNG absolutely wiped the floor with LNG. It was a perfect ace coming in from their part, better vision control, and Plex, in both of these team fights, I actually felt he was a bit late with his his flash-ins.
I mean, he flashed in when LNG wanted to get out.
Yeah, so you could still see some of the communications issues coming into the roster with LNG. This is totally expected, but great match coming in from Langx. You can see in that fight, Xiahu started it up. Langx cleared out the backline afterwards, and this is what we've been seeing from him. He always takes a lot of pressure early, but he remains relevant.
Plays the weak side of the map and came out stronger, especially against Flande, who was stacking up kills in CS himself. So props to Langx in that game number 1, and we'll see what happens going forward, because over the side of LNG, there's a lot of criticism, I know, but for good reason, because this is the expectation that they will be a playoff team. With losses like that, you have to say, well, what says you when you go against teams like Suning, when you go against teams like BLG, who are also looking for that final playoff position?
It's been extremely rough for this LNG roster. They've dropped 3 out of their last 4 matches, and things have taken a severe turn for the worst.
Yep.
You have to remember when LNG started this split, they took down both finalists in the same week. Beat JD Gaming, beat Invictus Gaming. They looked super strong. Plex was doing great on the Silas pick, but once the tempo of the game has slowed down a little bit, once everyone has kind of figured them out, they haven't been able to really adapt and change to the new meta. So that's what I want to see. If you can't rely on the miracles, you have to change the fundamental. You have to start from the opening chapter. You have to rewrite that.
Because remember, the miracle was that LNG were up here, that they were expected to be, you know, that playoff team who are currently sitting 7th on 6-4, who at the moment, you know, have gone up against teams like BLG, Rogue Warriors, EDG, Top Esports, and have started to take losses. Their strength of schedule still looks quite difficult with FPX after RNG, with Suning, that final match we talked about, which could dictate whether they make playoffs or not. And we'll hear from Langx after his Game 1 performance.
对战 RNG 其实也就反正就多注意一下对面上野嘛，因为对面上野非常厉害，然后自己需要注意什么就不被单杀就行。
Well, was he not solo killed in Game 1? No.
He wasn't.
No.
Spoken like a true
Xiahu.
RNG top
Yeah.
laner. All I need to make sure of is I'm not solo killed though.
That's the main thing, you know? Especially going up against Flande. I mean, this man, he's a chemist.
Oh, plays a lot of interesting champions. He was the first one to take out Azir top lane and also Lucian top lane. And in fact,
Yep.
that's still his Chinese nickname. He's called the Holy Light.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, because that is the literal translation of Lucian in the Chinese client.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. It's good to see him kind of back on the Akali, though. And let's kind of resonate what the best part about LNG from Game 1 was, because I'll say wholehandedly, it was Flande. Flande was that shining light. He was the holy light on the Akali. And seeing him on that champion again, when in spring, he dominated on it. When he looked fantastic, when at the start of summer, Flande was once again pulling it out. Now that there's been so much change in 9-14, the chemist gets to go back on what he's known for. The franchise player on a carry, hell yeah, that puts faith in LNG.
He's had so many signature champions this split. The Plex was one. Not the Plex, I'm sorry. The Pike. The Pike was
the
one.
Plex,
Pike top
yeah.
lane was banned from him constantly. And then it was the Akali. After those got nerfed, he had some great showings on the Aatrox. And recently has been really playing a lot more of the Grasp of the Undying Camille. That's been a huge one for him. And if you think about all of these champions, all of them are split pushers. They come off really strong on the flank. And that has been the main linchpin for LNG. That's the way they like to play their games. Draw it out and then have Flande come in from the flank, kill the enemy, backline.
Because
from
if someone like Plex is not performing and it's coming off our points of Game 1, where Plex, you know, looked uncoordinated with the rest of the team, at least you can rely on Flande. He's the player that I said has not missed a game. Snake combined back in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, came together as one team, promoted into the LPL, and then Flande was a part of it ever since. Has not missed a single game, has not been sick, I don't know how, but in 5 years has just been so consistent. So this is the person you lean on when everything goes downhill.
And I wonder what he's going to do this time around. If you think about LNG's rotations in the Game 1, a lot of emphasis was given to Flande. RNG rotated their bot lane very early on to stop the bleeding happening.
Yep.
And then what LNG did was, you know what, send everyone to the top lane. Make sure Flande can take this wave unopposed, at least keep this side lane split push alive.
He's our father, yes.
LNG totally understands their win conditions. You can see it in the way they play. The question really is, can they get the miracle team fights that really changes their destiny in the mid game? That's always been the tough call for our LNG and Snake overall. Like that mid game team fight, if it doesn't happen, they just get completely crushed.
I mean, as we saw, we saw the only mid-game team fight there was, and RNG crushed them and ended the game. So it was a super simple Game 1. Again, unexpected that we got to that Game 1. It was like, oh, it was just so stock standard. It was so simple. It was so slow-paced. Coming into Game 2, let's see if the Kiana's left again. Let's see if the Vladimir finds its way through, because still learning about some of the picks that China's going to prefer coming into the new patch.
I really want to see Duan on the Bard again.
Yeah.
I actually think it fits the LNG style. We're talking about flank and shank. You need to be very unexpected in your initiations.
He does both. Yeah.
And what's more difficult to predict than an ultimate from Bard?
Hey, you said he got buffed. I mean, that 40 extra HP, that's like, what, an auto attack from a very bad champion?
Great.
Yeah.
It's not terrible.
From a Karsa. No, from a Karsa.
Hey, I will not let you defy the good name of
I'm not
Rusty.
saying Bard's
we had a master Bard
on the
actually
team.
Challenger Bard.
Do you
on
know
the
the
team.
fun thing is, the two Australians that have been on this team both play Bard. I was
It's
a
like your
Bard
national
main.
champion.
Yeah. It's
You know when Bard takes off his mask, it's actually like a kangaroo behind it.
No, it's a can of VP. That's what it is. It's the true Australian way. So I was, when I say Bard main, I played a hell of a lot of Bard.
You play a lot of champions. You make too many champions.
Yeah, but that's why I'm so low tier. I mean, at least Rusty's got some, master energy behind him, right?
I think
I don't
it's
know what he
the
is right now.
tattoo. You have to get
You
it
reckon
on
it's a
your-
tat? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Show real commitment and the champion will favor you.
I want to see it. Back to your point, I want to see it. Duan, 100% win rate on it. LPL, 100% win rate as well, as Lumao picked it up. So let's go into Game 2. LNG blue side. This is their favorable side. They love blue side. They have a very high win rate on it. But RNG on red is the same thing. So let's see what gets let through.
I'm curious if LNG are going to pick up the Karma. I think it's one of the champions that fits the bill quite well for them. It actually helps their bot lane. They are AD carry focused, and it would also allow them to have a mid lane that doesn't really collapse against anything. Karma's a very safe champion in that regard.
Either that or they can go back to something like the Karthus again. Let's see what's high pick priority, because Karma's left available.
There we go.
Xiahu loves it, so if you leave that 3, RNG would pick it up.
I think
next.
Karma's the best one right here. Karthus, for me, against RNG as a matchup, isn't that great.
Yeah.
It's a bit too slow.
Let's see SofM on something like the Rek'Sai we're talking
I would
about,
prefer
the Sejuani.
Sejuani, yeah. Sejuani's the big one I would prefer for him, because you can gank even if your jungle is completely warded.
Would you pick up Tahm Kench? Wow. Tahm Kench got absolutely gutted, and Nico as well, some changes there too.
I'm surprised about the Tahm Kench. He's currently hovering at 28% win rate on the new patch in Professional, so not a great look from him. The biggest change to his playstyle is you can no longer stun with the tongue lash and then devour.
The free eat, right? You lose all acquired taste.
So I'm very surprised to see that. That's a very defensive Tahm Kench these days. A lot of his offensive capabilities have been taken away. So I think you're looking at a hyper carry from Uzi coming up.
Especially when the setup for RNG so far is that team fight style. If you pick the Nico, you look for the all-in. Ming's Alistar still open, and picking the Brom up against the Tahm, well, LNG, see a no-brainer. The Karma, of course, going into a solo lane here. And I think so far, LNG are going to have the advantage coming into this pick ban.
Yeah, LNG are in no rush to actually pick their AD carry at this point. I would sit on it, try to get your jungler locked down.
Yeah, you mentioned the... Okay.
Oh.
They're in a rush to get their AD carry, Clement.
The Varus is an interesting one now. Now, Varus does have some interactions that do counter out the Tahm Kench. You can prevent his healing.
Yes.
You do have the that going for you.
Also remember that it is not necessarily a AD carry Varus.
Yes.
Because in LPL, we've seen it mid. We've seen the lethality Comet Varus picked up into the mid lane. So there is some flexibility there for LNG.
And we've also seen the AD Varus popping up in the bot side as well. A lot of people playing that one. The poke style of Varus with the lethality builds coming in as well.
Yep.
So a strong flex from them. I don't think that LNG necessarily play the Varus mid though.
All right. Well, you see the Rumble ban, so maybe not. The Rumble ban against Xiahu, as we were talking about before, 32 KDA after his last series against V5. A respectable ban at that. RNG banning away junglers, so they get rid of the Karthus once again. Now Sejuani, not too surprised here. So what will SofM play this game?
We're looking for something that has a hard stun, easy way to gank. What is still left?
I said Rek'Sai before.
Rek'Sai's great.
Olaf's already gone.
Rek'Sai with Braum is great. You know, you refresh your melee attacks so frequently.
Yep.
Very easy to get the concussive blows down. What else? Zac is something that is kind of out of the left field, but is SofM's champion.
Is this his Lee Sin game? Or you don't think?
Lee Sin.
He's played it 5 times already in the LPL, and funnily enough, SofM has not been the most successful one with it.
Lee Sin with Karma actually works nice.
Okay.
And if you have a poke Varus, I guess I could see that.
But LNG, after they see
kind of boring.
Ezreal.
Talia, I believe, is still global banned, so can't go there.
Talia, Jace, Mordekaiser is a quick refresher for everyone. That's why we're not seeing the Jace ban. But what LNG going to do? They hold around an 80 carry. I said the Lee Sin.
Aww.
That's not... Clement, this is his champion.
It's not bad, but I just feel like it's so hard to get an initiation on it early. If you look at RNG's comp, they're running like double marksman, Tahm Kench, very defensive build.
True.
And Lee Sin, even against normal 80 carries without that many gap closers, it's kind of hard to get initiation off. This is just... I think we're going to see a poke war really evolve out of these two.
Where you have Corki as well. Yeah, sure.
The poke war's on.
Azir's banned, though. So, ladies and gentlemen, clap your hands. We don't have Azir. That means it can't be Corki Azir. That means instead, it'll be Corki Vladimir. We'll see.
There's a lot of different answers to Corki. The one I really like is the Kassadin. I've seen that a couple times.
Yeah. Or maybe that's a Nico mid. And Gangplank, yes, will be going to the top side of the map.
Okay, so this is basically a poke war. It's going to be a volleyball game.
Yep.
Who gets hit by the explosive cask, by the tangle barbs,
okay,
and by the piercing shots coming in. So,
who's got the longer range, Clement?
I would definitely say LNG has the longer range with the Q. The piercing arrow, probably. I think it's 1400 there.
And who's left out? Who doesn't have the poke? I'd say Jarvan's flag still extends and his, drag still puts his thing out. But
flag is just amazing when you're playing a co composition.
Yeah.
Like 50% extra attack speed for the entire game.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty insane.
That's true, but look, it's fun. I mean, we got poke and poke. At the end of the day, who pokes better? You answered for me, LNG, so if everything's as simple as that, then sure. Coaches are laughing at each other like, I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah, we did.
Take some of this gameplay.
We're similar, but not really. But let's go beyond poke a little bit, because in this game too, it feels like to the side of LNG, got a bit more fail-safes than they did in game 1.
Certainly do. I like the fact that they're going for a strong bot lane this time. This is the point that we always focused on when we're looking at LNG compositions. Can they go and play an early game? And this time they're showing us that, yes, we do have that in our
which is great
roster.
adaptation, right? And this needs to be said.
Definitely the case here. So they're finally going to have priority over Uzi, a rare sight indeed for LNG. And if you look at their other lanes, I actually favor the Karma over the Gangplank as well. So they should have side lane priorities across the board. This is a matchup where, if one side gets to leave their lane first and group up on your mid lane tower, then you can do a lot of damage. So I'm really expecting SofM to try and get some ganks off, try to find the jungler early just with his priority in the side lanes.
I mean, he's on the Lee Sin. He's the best Lee Sin. People have called him in the past here in China, and that's what they need. They need the best of to take it to game 3. Because LNG on the verge of losing yet another series, going up against the powerhouse known as Royal Never Give Up. Beijing falls silent, although we know that's not true.
First win does go over to LNG. Already poked out Uzi.
Yep. Look at that, fake Karsa.
Cute little thing about Nico this time around is that using auto attacks does not reveal yourself. The inherent glamour will keep you disguised as the champion you choose.
That's always good. So this time around, it's going to see standard lanes coming across here, though. And that's why in the LPL we always remind you that, yes, it is going to be standard lanes. Actually, this is a sight for sore eyes. Do you remember the last time you saw Klepto Gangplank in a game?
Oh, it's been a while.
It's been a very long time. And we expect the Klepto out of the Karma, considering that has been the lane matchup in the top side. But for Langx to take Klepto, that's some confidence.
Makes a lot of sense. I think against the Karma matchup, nothing's really going to happen there.
Okay.
They just want to farm up, get the most gold possible.
She does harass really well, though.
She does, but Grasp Within Dying actually doesn't keep you alive that much longer.
Fair.
I would actually just much rather take a Klepto, trade parlay with one of her Qs and just roll the die on who gets the better items.
Yeah, wow.
So taking a look at the builds here, I think the most important one we have to note is that it's going to be a lethal tempo.
Varus, right?
Varus, yeah.
Yeah. So the on hit, as you mentioned before, there's been 2 popularities here. Asura also having the shove in this lane. And coming back to the point you mentioned in champs like Clement, that for LNG, a lane that is positive in their favor in the early game, in the Varus and the Braum.
Rare sight to see indeed. And RNG also doing a pretty interesting clear. This is a no-leash clear from the top side. So both of these junglers are pretty much looking to farm up, I would say. The timing is a bit slower on these ganks, and he will be spotted out.
Yeah, on a ward, but do they have enough time in this bottom lane? Karsa hasn't moved quick enough, of course. He's backing away. Will be spotted out by the ward, as you mentioned. Clears it afterwards.
Oh, and I love this from SofM. He's one of the few junglers that will actually delay his red buff take.
He's you mentioned last time, right?
He doesn't take up his red buff until he needs to gank with it.
Yeah.
It's a really smart idea. Like, red buff doesn't give you that much EXP compared to the rest of the caps.
And it's usually on the Lee Sin as well, because, level 3 of Lee is big, but not in a 2v1. As Xiahu's coming in to weigh the favor, the fight begins. And with Conqueror now procced on SofM, he's running away, doesn't want to take the fight. He flashes, gets locked up with the Tangle Buffs. The heal comes through as well. It's a 3 versus 3. The flag drag gets everyone. Karsa gets eaten up. Ming spits him back out and spits on LNG. RNG take it all.
A 0-3 start coming from them, and SofM massively underestimated.
Oh, no, and he's going to take his red buff. You know what? He knows what SofM does.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate. So SofM thought that his bot lane had more priority than it really did. He walks forward, tries to contest Karsa with the red buff, and look at the difference in grouping speed. Xiahu gets here far before LNG's bot lane actually is able to arrive here. Even though they had priority, they couldn't get away from Ming and Uzi, and this was perfect damage tanking from Ming. Gets the Devourer onto his into his own jungler, keeps his Karsa's life alive, and he pops out with another W.
I mean, who needs the acquired taste nerf when you're going to devour your ally anyway? Who cares?
Yeah. We've been talking about Tahm Kench and his changes. He's a much more defensive champion now. Not a lot of offensive power once he lost that stun into Devourer combo.
But Ming doesn't care. 1-0 and 2 across the board. Triple assist from Karsa. The gangplank wasn't even set up to ult yet. It's going to get much worse when he hits that level 6 mark, because he is losing the lane, but RNG now winning the map by a solid 1,000 gold, and Uzi got a sheen off of his first back.
Yeah, that's lane priority going the other way. I like SofM though. He's not a quitter. He's going for that Krug camp.
Yep, we'll actually
right off
spot
the
out
bat.
the Jarvan as well, but Asura, you mentioned the lane priority has shifted around. Well, Uzi pushes out Asura, and it starts shifting the other way. Big wave now pushing, and no junglers nearby means that Asura and Duan once again on an island.
And this is one of those games where we talked about LNG, when their mid and jungle collapse early, they typically fall very fast.
Yeah.
So we've seen this against the EDG series. Again, another Lee Sin game from LNG. And once they just lost control of the mid and jungle, it snowballed so hard into the other team's favor. I want to see if their silence can still hold on just based on the champion picks, but I'm not optimistic.
Because for the side of LNG, at least their mid lane isn't falling out that hard. I mean, Xiahu does have priority here, and he'll find SofM. I take it back. With no mid priority, Plex just can't do anything to respond. And RNG putting some damage down on SofM. It'll be Infernal Dragon now for Karsa, which wasn't going to be that much of a possibility before that play happened.
Yeah, it's a very strong start coming in from RNG. Also, the amount of extra gold Uzi got from that engage is pretty ridiculous.
I mean, a Klepto Ezreal, of course. So. Well, Clement, good time to have a discussion about what you think of RNG. Because once again, they've done it. This has been a much more active early game than we saw last time. An earlier first blood, earlier duels here on the poking compositions. But for the side of RNG, there are expectations. This 7-1 team is going up and up, and they're in that world's form already.
I have to say, I feel like RNG, their top side is still underutilized. We haven't seen a game where Langx just hard carries. Like, what usually happens is he's left alone in lane. As long as he doesn't fall too far behind, RNG are happy. But we haven't seen a game where he's really given a lot of resources and is allowed to just dominate and play the 4-1
Which
style.
makes you think, if that happens, then what do you rate RNG? Because right now, they're already a powerhouse that can rely on that top laner sitting on the weak side consistently, and teams utilizing that, exploiting that.
That's what I wanted to see out of RNG, but what I didn't expect was for Xiahu to have...
Wow, stand behind the minions.
Very close.
Please leave.
I didn't expect Xiahu to have that good of a split either. So those two things kind of balance themselves out. And with the addition of Xiahu moving to the top lane sometimes, I think it makes them a very complete team. It means that RNG can still snowball in any lane they choose, even though it might not be snowballing Langx.
Yeah, technically it's not the top lane, right? So that's very fair. But the bottom side, we were kind of talking about what RNG have done in the past as SofM bit off on his timings. The bottom lane was forced out. Uzi now has a CS lead in the Ezreal Tahm Kench lane, which we've always called a defensive one. And LNG are looking for a window back in this game. SofM towards the mid side, trying to invade top, trying to play the Lee Sin early game. But right now, he's not giving an avenue. And even this top side is getting supported by Karsa.
We should see the gank coming in. Flande gets the bait.
Barrage. There's top side pressure. Clement, you wanted to see it. Flande now caught in a wall. Cataclysm parlay. And Langx is going to be catching up on some CS.
Very well done by Langx. If Flande just walked away, I don't think that gank would have succeeded. But Langx was able to gold Flande back into the fight.
Does this hit your condition, Clement? Or do you want to see more?
I want to see more.
Okay. But that's a start. I mean, the Karma was running away with CS. It was almost a 30 CS lead. Langx's now made it 20. Gonna get some turret plating as well.
To me, this is still a gank where we're like, let's make sure Langx can still play the game.
Yeah.
Let's make sure he can still contribute. This is not a, let's make sure Langx is our sole
This
carry.
stops the critics, right? Like, if anyone's like, you never give any pressure to Langx.
Right.
Karsa goes here.
Head fake. That's super important. He gets Flande to then use his abilities. It's the small details like that. Great acting from Langx. No, not going overboard.
And well left. I mean, the kill goes over to the Gangplank, who is 2 items towards, or almost 3 towards the Trinity Force. Langx's going to have a very early first item.
Yeah, that's still very well done with the Kleptomancy. Usually we say 13 minutes is the timing you want to see from a Klepto Gangplank hitting Triforce.
I always said 15, but 13 is...
15's way too late. Come on, man.
All right. 15 in any other world.
I could hit 15.
Clement, don't sell yourself short. You could hit 12. All right?
No, I can't.
Okay. I know we're going to have a larger discussion about Kled and top lane as well, just coming back to the conversation, but...
Love me some Kled.
Yeah. Aren't you a GP player as well? Are you a Gangplank player?
Not really.
No?
I'm 30 years old this year.
Oh, are you?
I
I'm
feel
so
like
sorry.
I'm getting arthritis already.
Oh, really?
And triple barrels require
a lot of
some mechanical dexterity.
mechanics in Gangplank. You know, you're gonna put one barrel, you're gonna press E again. That's a lot. Duan is taking a lot of damage as well now. This bottom lane is getting smacked. Like, this is not good as Abyssal Voyage is gonna come through. The Flash Cataclysm. Instant ult from Duan was great, but Asura had to burn the Summoner, and RNG, their bottom lane, is secured.
Good block.
No. Xiahu's even here. Asura stays. Karsa gets locked down. Now he'll die in a 1-for-1 trade, but RNG pedal to the metal. Is LNG doing the same in the top side?
A really good response from RNG, actually. Because of how many people RNG needed to send there, LNG gets a free topside. They may actually take the first brick.
Oh, they will, actually. Hang on. Give it a second. The Ezreal's down there. Swipes it away. Okay, first turret blood goes over. Xiahu wants to take the fight in the mid lane, but going to get the lockdown. Pop wasn't going to come through. The Cannon Barrage forces the flash. Black's not locked down for long enough.
So once again, we're seeing a very similar dynamic to game 1, where LNG are pretty close in the gold, despite what the kill lead says. But RNG are so far ahead of the bot lane.
Flash. Xiahu gets something over his next strike. He's going to get Dragon's Rage. Auto attack. SofM, though, is going to die. Another trade-off in kills across the map.
Unfortunate, but you can't block tower shots, and the extra resistances were not enough for him to survive that. But SofM sends a message.
Yeah, he sends a message, but I'm still concerned because at the end of that play, I say, well, Xiahu still benefits. He's 3-1-2 on the mid Nico.
Yeah, very far ahead in terms of his mid lane opponents.
Yep.
And looking at this game, you really see Flande as playing more of a support role with the Ardent Sensor out already. What he needs is another person to be a suitable carry.
Yep.
And right now, it looks like it has to be Plex, but Plex is also very far behind in his lane. Great find onto Xiahu. Challenging Smite goes down, and SofM does use the Dragon's Rage to put an extra auto
We're
attack.
impatient, but they don't want to show it. They're like, nah, they get the message. As now Trinity Force picked up in that top lane. Langx hits that 12-minute window, Clement. You can be happy about that. Pushes the wave in, returns the lane. Gangplank still farming away. 30 CS down, but the kill manages everything as Uzi's going for the steal. Oh, he was close.
21 HP off.
Yeah. Well, Plex gets the blue buff. He'll be happy about that one. As Uzi's now moved to the mid lane with Iceborne Gauntlet. And a late tier was picked up in this game, but Uzi doesn't care. He hit his window, he hit his spike. He's hit the CS in the lane. And that's all that matters this game, that the Ezreal goes into a very strong mid game.
Oh no, he picked up the tier right after the
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
That was quick.
Wow, great
yeah,
prediction.
Really good ult. Pop Blossom's going to come down. Xiahu travels. No! He was kicked mid-ulti. They're just looking for him, but he survives. Healed up. That was the weirdest interaction I've seen in a while.
That was a great start from
flew.
LNG.
He flew.
Oh, That has to feel so bad. SofM, you can see he's probably apologizing right now. It's like,
I didn't mean to do it. That was almost as rough as seeing Max get sent into the middle of the team.
Yeah, that was the 3-man taunt
Also
that
against
happened.
RNG.
Oh, that was unfortunate. Asura had a great ultimate coming out, but then SofM kicked the Nico straight into his face.
And suddenly, LNG with that are behind 4,000 gold. Let's look again.
Look at this prediction. It was picture perfect, but unfortunately for us.
Oh, wow.
Oh, the
Thumbs up. Clement is the insult. And the fact that SofM, he throws a Sonic Wave and it's blocked by the Tahm Kench in the end too. Like the icing on top of the cake. That's how this series feels for LNG. So close, yet so far. As 14 minutes comes across, turret plating goes down, the 4K gold lead I talked about, and the fact that the scaling elements of this team of RNG have the gold.
Man, this is just Xiahu split. Even when he misplays, he gets rewarded.
He deserves it, that's right. So what can LNG do here, Clement? Because another mountain coming up. RNG this time have taken the elementals under their wing.
This game has a much larger snowball than the previous one, and what we've seen out of these poke wars is it's all about when you can start grouping up against the enemy team.
Ooh,
LNG are
TP.
trying to force the tempo right now.
Just to get the turret, it feels like they need it. Package will be used to get away. Turret does go down eventually.
So I actually like that move coming in from LNG. It also sets up the next Mountain Drake quite well. They still have their own mid tower intact. And they can look to push this mid wave and then create a fork against RNG.
Seems pretty simple to do right now, but LNG have backed away a little bit. Now, Uzi and Ming are sitting here, and in a longer lane, that seems to be fine. As RNG group up, Duan puts his shield up because Uzi is just doing that much damage right now. SofM's nearby.
All LNG needs to do is keep their HP bars up until this next Drake comes up.
Yep.
They should have the shove. We're going to have to remember Flande is still dictating the lane in the top side. So they call Flande down into the mid preemptively. They push this out. They set up for the Mountain Drake and look for RNG to walk into them. They still have the Varus ultimate to counteract that.
What if RNG are already there? What if RNG are waiting for them?
Ooh, that's a spooky way to put it.
Yeah.
But I think if that happens, you just continue to push the wave.
Okay. No Baron to threaten the counter engage as well, rather the counter play. 3 minutes and 30 till that one comes up. RNG sitting towards the bottom side, waiting for someone to walk to them. 2 casters go into a brush. And who will survive?
Karsas?
No
WTF?
way. Oh my god. We haven't seen a Nico Shen comp yet. That's sure
Because
to get
Shen hasn't
everyone
been
started.
relevant.
Shen's always relevant. Oh, TP though. Gonna be spotted here by RNG. Casters going
Plex
to the
gonna
brush.
survive this?
Plex walks over. He's dead. 5, 1, and 3. Teleport, Cannon Barrage, Cataclysm, flashes from 2 members. Xiahu sends his clone to the brush. LNG are walking away. They flash for Uzi, but he burns one in response. Look how desperate they're getting, Clement.
Yeah, and that was a bit unfortunate from LNG. They probably had an inkling of where the Karsa and Nico was, but they didn't expect them to be there that long.
Phoenix,
Wow.
Wave, yeah, they disappear. The True Shot Barrage hits everyone, though. They get knocked up on top of Ming as Flande, the flag and drag on top of him. Karsa gets flushed out of the way from goes golden, but Uzi still hitting from the backside. And this is going to be a moment because Corky's not in the fight just yet, but LNG are still winning. Langx gets low, has to run away. The flag drag re-engage, but Tahm Kench does no damage. Karsa can't get the kill, and the fiesta begins.
LNG finds one back. Imagine if they had that when Asura actually had his ultimate.
Yeah.
Like, that was a perfect setup situation for them. And a lot of it was because of how strong Flande was coming in from the top side. However, RNG are all smiles.
Yep, they're like, well, we'll try again.
Uzi laughing that one out full-heartedly.
He survived. He doesn't care. He didn't die. KDA still there. CS a minute still there. Remember, Uzi at the moment's averaging 10.6 CS a minute.
That's insane.
So he's up there. It'll probably go down by a couple of points this game. Only sitting out the clock. I mean, who cares, right? We'll look at this again, Clement, because like you mentioned, imagine the ult. Imagine the Asura ult.
Yeah, RNG expended a lot in the previous fight. It was 3 ultimates to get that 1 kill onto Plex, and LNG recognized this. They head straight back for the engage. Flande dodges out on so many skill shots and just goes straight back in. a lot of damage being dealt, a lot of utility from Flande. Karma, early game, just such a powerful champion.
I mean, he's almost got the rabbit on Death Cap. This is the pro bono of having the 2 support items. They're cheap. There's good AP ratios on them as well. And for what they do in the fight, the on-hit Varus is just going to feel so good. So they pick up the Mountain Drake off the back of that play. There's another one coming down to make the 3rd of the game. And LNG closed part of that gold gap. It was more than 4,000, but we're back to that square one.
And LNG still have a lot of engage potential here. I don't actually think fighting in the jungle is the smartest move.
Get it! There we go. But will LNG take the play? That's my biggest question here. The poke going down onto Ming. And you mentioned in Champs, like 2 poke comps, everyone poking each other.
I do actually give a slight advantage to these standoffs to LNG.
Yeah.
They have better chase down potential with Flande, and they also have better engage from Asura. So RNG doing that play, that was a situation where Asura could actually just catch people out with his ultimate.
Baron now spawning. This is the one game where you say, where's the Ocean Dragon, right? You're saying,
Please no.
You would love the Ocean Dragon. No, but if you're LNG, you're like, this is the perfect game for Ocean.
It makes the game drag on forever.
I know.
I hate poke fights when there's Ocean Drakes.
But we're going to get it anyway. It doesn't matter if there's a dragon or not. Asura, wow! You know what? If you got global poke, that's even better.
All right, those are typically the highlights between poke compositions, when you can stack all your ultimates together.
Our match of the week is just firing up. As RNG have the numbers advantage, they push down the mid lane, and turret's going to go down thanks to Demolish. RNG finally breaking it. That means they can move towards Baron, clear out some of this vision, get some deeper. One's under their control as well. And LNG have a package to play with now on Plex.
Only lasts 1 minute, so you use it or you lose it. Not much to be gained here.
I mean,
they're still looking for a potential engage on the mid lane.
We'll have teleport when he comes back up. He's now alive, so we'll see. Ultimate's there too. For LNG, just positioning around the Baron, and I think the next 5-10 minutes are going to be quiet ones. Clement, I think we've gotten to that point.
Quiet? I don't think so.
You don't reckon?
I don't reckon.
Okay.
I think right now, you have Uzi with that set of items. He chases down people so easy. What he's going to force is LNG to basically stay grouped at all times. And for, let's see who can split push on this team. Probably going to send Xiahu to one of the side lanes.
Yeah,
he can come in and get the better collapse with his items.
I mean,
he has a lot of
Gangplank's
slows.
always going to be in the side lane as well, usually.
Yeah.
Yeah, Langx is at 2 items, Essence Reaver second Gangplank. Like, this is the return of Klepto, where in the earlier laning phase he lost out, but now 2 kills. Now he's caught back up in CS, and I guarantee you he's over gold in Flande. He's got a level on top of him as well.
Oh, here comes the chase.
And he does have the ultimate too. Langx now groups up. They get the slow. The Cannon Barrage comes down. They nail them down. LNG caught out with their pants down. And look again. Plex is not with the team. This is the 2nd time this game.
There's not much you can do against the chase potential from RNG. RNG, this type of comp with their itemization is just so punishing once you lose your
A lot of ice
power.
on this team. Considering you're going into a Brom and RNG just turned for the Baron. They've got the numbers advantage again. Here we go.
Can SofM get the steal?
I mean, over the wall, Uzi just takes the move. That Cataclysm. Who needs Baron when you have all this money? Xiahu goes golden. He's going to be caught out in the middle as SofM turns the fight onto Karsa. He finds one, but Uzi's still alive with Langx at the helm. Ming stuck on the Baron. He doesn't care. He just wants the purple
Plex
worm.
goes in.
Plex finally starts hitting hard. Teleport going to be coming through as well. And RNG now getting turned on by Plex. Uzi though survives. Somehow, some way, the flash over the wall from Flande. He finds it. And RNG get routed.
And that was an unfortunate fight by RNG. Ming actually did nothing in the first opening salvos of that fight. He was stuck behind the Baron pit. Couldn't get into the front of it, couldn't get into the back of it, and RNG overplayed their hand. They do find the kill onto SofM, meaning that, you know, there's no steal incoming, but at the same time, they trade away all their carries.
That was a 1.5 here for LNG. And starting to hit those windows, starting to hit those moments, especially for Asura. And Flande always had that power, but with the Rabadon's death cap, he went even further.
Oh, that was so well played by multiple members on LNG. It was a good idea here from RNG, but I felt like once they found the SofM kill, SofM actually survives for so long. Okay, that's... Oh, he actually gets the kill on Karsa.
He does.
Wow.
He gets the trade. Like, SofM
Oh my
impressive as
God.
all hell.
That was so cool. I was watching the bottom of the fight, and Plex plays this magnificently. He actually uses the vision advantage, chunks out Uzi, and even though he dies in the process, they still get the kill nonetheless. They clean up the bottom half from RNG.
I mean, there's a much bloodier game, Clement, and we're setting up to go all over again.
That was fun. That was an SofM style of play. Remember when Karsa said, I'm not sure I'm going to get advantage 1v1ing him. Maybe he was being honest.
Especially not if you lease in. I mean, he's got the advantage.
I thought he was being humble, but...
He was telling the truth,
Yeah,
right?
he was telling the truth.
And it's RNG looking for a pick here. Now, there's no vision down. SofM will get the Sonic Wave, and that spots out the rest of RNG. And Vision really the contention here right now. That Baron wasn't taken. Karsa still trying to find his way in as the spooky goes. That was the setup last time from Xiahu. We'll have to wait again.
LNG need to be so careful of that. That's a 5-second, 60% stun.
Ooh.
Plex does get it.
He got it. Sorry, right, Clement. Big stun.
Yeah, so every time LNG splits up, RNG can just do the same trick. You have the spooky ghost come in and massive engage potential from Cataclysm plus gameplay.
Oh, speaking of the devil, there's the ultimate, but Karsa's just dead again. But they walk into his ult. Duan walked into Xiahu's ult, and SofM can't find his way through. This has been the strangest series I think I've casted this split, Clement.
It's been really good from RNG. They understand their engage. I've actually misjudged the amount of engage and how successful they would be just with the Glacial Augment.
I mean, now they're just on top of Plex. Look, he stuck around for too long. He flashes away. This is why I said it's strange, because after that great play, LNG are caught out again. And RNG just have the members now to look for more of this base.
All right, SofM's still around. He could still get a perfect kick.
Not if he dies to Uzi, who's just trying to turret dive him right now. Ming takes the ult by himself. SofM Sonic Wave. You know he wants to take it. Oh, he wants it. Doesn't matter if he's going in. He'll take it.
He's not that crazy. He's not MLXG, okay?
I think Karsa you'd put up there as like Lanza Q takes it, right? Who would you put up there in the world as a least in who presses Sonic Wave and would always take the Q?
Pepper.
Pepper, yeah.
Yes, Pepper.
MLXG, you're right. 100%
His name is literally called Regret.
Yeah.
So what it means is I'll take the Q2 and regret later.
So fun fact is the RNG fans at that point when he was on the roster used his name literally when they saw him on stage, and it was really sad.
Oh,
back to
wow.
this. I mean,
Great engage. They actually locked them down inside the game playing true damage ring.
Yep.
The inner ring of that ultimate does so much damage, and a good follow-up from Xiahu as well. Plex cannot leave the rest of his team. He has to play the volleyball game with the rest of them, and they have to be willing to push up. I think that's the big difference between LNG is that LNG is trying to match these side lane waves, when I think the best way for them to maintain their range advantage is actually just to group up, be the one that are pushing RNG to defend their own turrets.
Because Plex is always in the side lanes in this game. He's been left there a couple of times when some of these engages start, but now Plex is with the rest of the team. LNG need to rely on this mid laner who has been inconsistent in the past couple of series, who we've been questioning his performance. This is a game where it comes into fruition, whether we can start leaning on him again or if LNG are running out of options.
I really want to see LNG. First off, if you have to deal with the bot wave, just deal with it when you're at tower. That's perfectly fine. You know, the game blink's not going to be that fast. And afterwards, when you clear it, then you try to roam together.
Yep.
But however, RNG do have a teleport advantage, a pretty big one.
Yeah, I mean, Flande having no TP sucks here because that's the Baron going to be pretty much taken. LNG slow to the play.
Ooh, and that's a Nico.
That is a Nico. That's a 4-man Pop Blossom. Do you even need it? It'll come down. It'll slow them down. The Cannon Barrage does the work. Baron taken. Ming's going to come in, dies himself.
Wait.
A double kill already there. Langx walks forward, Clement. What is going on? Plex now runs forward. Uzi going to help get the kill as Karsa jumps in with the Cataclysm. This Ezreal wants to 1v3. Uzi, can he do it? Arcane shifts away. He hits Asura on their SofM. They're so down low, they don't want to take this.
Where's the next Arcane shift?
SofM trying to alpha him himself. The ult not available. Uzi was feeling that.
Oh, that was such a fun one to watch. RNG could have walked away, but they were like, you know what, we're going to try to end this one clean off. And Abyssal Voyage with no one on board into the middle of 3 people on LNG's team. Ming just evaporates and there's no damage in falling over the choke.
A very strange fight there from RNG, but for LNG still finding ways into this game. Baron denied off 4 members. Uzi, the only one to take it away.
That was pretty crazy. I want to see the replay again. Xiahu actually held on to his ultimate a lot longer than I thought he would. He had a potential for a 4-man lockdown on that, above the blue wall here. Let's see.
You're like, where's the ult? Yeah.
Yeah, he pops his Zanya a little too early as well. Actually wasn't focused for that one. So once he comes out, picked off very early. Then we see Ming going straight into Flande and Asura. And Langxing's like, wait a minute, where's my pickup truck?
And Karsa's like, hey, I'm in.
I'm in 1v3, Uzi.
Look at
Make
Uzi.
the highlights,
yeah,
boy.
Here we
Make
go.
the highlights, my boy.
I mean, he would have turned all
Yeah.
right. If Asura kept walking forward, he was dead. SofM was dead as well. This is 8-1 Ezreal.
I gotta say, Uzi actually played that one a little safe.
Yeah.
He was like, I'll hold on to this Baron buff.
What did I say in game 1? What did I say in game 2? Like, these games are set up for Uzi.
He isn't laughing anymore.
You know, he's serious. He's like,
Yeah.
it's up to me, boys.
That was one where I think the Uzi of 2017 would have went straight in.
Yeah.
But Flande was waiting across the corner, and he was like, okay,
I
I'm
know
the only
you.
one with Baron. I gotta keep this alive. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm not in this party.
I mean, they've been in the league for so damn long. Flande and Uzi know each other so well. Many, many years between the two. And for Uzi, although he has the advantage there, this game has become about him. For Flande, more supporting role. We talked about Plex. Asura is towards those 4 items, but bigger question on my mind, who's handling Langxing right now?
Nobody.
4
Flande
top.
has to go
Flande
during
goes
the,
bot, but look at this, it's too late.
I think they're still able to save their inhibitor.
Okay, 2-shot barrage. Here's the ultimate cannon barrage as well. Langxing going to be targeted, but now top side. RNG do the easy do-si-do.
That's 2 inhibitors taken, but no inhibitor falling. No, 2
turrets,
inhibitor
right?
towers
Yeah,
taken,
yeah.
but no inhibitor falling
I'm
just
with you.
yet. So I actually feel like that's an okay defense from LNG.
Okay.
They can still hold on to the next wave, do it all over again.
A lot of blood, though, this game, Clement.
Yeah, and the next Infernal is going to be bloody as well.
Oh, yeah.
2 minutes, 40 seconds away. RNG have full map control.
These are like the best dragons in the game for teams that are like, well, we're poke comps, Infernal's great. I said the Ocean before, but Infernal, next best
Infernal's much better. Come
Yeah.
on. You
Okay.
don't want to see poke
thing. I
comps
mean, you
going
don't want
forever.
Ocean this late, so yes. But we're getting 6 elementals this game. So there's been a high priority towards that bottom side. And we're going to see who gets the double Infernal, because that'll change a lot. Change a lot for the now full build Ezreal.
Yeah, and if you look at RNG's composition, the initiation from LNG doesn't really work anymore. No one can actually be locked down and just killed in one combination.
Yep.
There's the Zanyas from Xiahu. You have the Mercurial Scimitar coming in from Ezreal. Also, there's always a Devourer incoming from Ming as well. So LNG has lost a lot of their engaged tools. What they do have is damage, though. That Death Cap, and if you can proc the, what is that, the Spellbinders, that's still going to be massive. The way they play it, it's going to be a bit different. They're going to try and burst someone down just with raw damage.
The ability to stop RNG. What did I say before we got into today? That RNG were on a roll, and LNG, this would define what kind of team they were. Were they up there with the big dogs, or are they struggling to hit the bubble of playoffs? Feels like right now it's the latter as RNG stream back into the base. They're looking to make this a clean 2-0. The next fight with this gold lead is going to end it all.
This is the first time that we actually see a straight-on 5v5 poke war developing, and I think this is actually good for LNG. LNG should try and find an initiation. They get it,
Is it
but on Gangplank,
look at Uzi's poke though. Cannon barrage, redemption to heal up Duan. That's one thing down. RNG going to get out using an ulti themselves. Uzi walks away. All inhibitors are exposed, but 2 are still up and available.
that was the best chance that LNG had in the team fight the entire game.
Yep.
Straight 5v5. They have to pick a target. It's Langxing, and unfortunately they don't even burn a flash out of him. Just the Serix Gauge and the remove Scurvy are enough for him to get out.
Do you think the Gangplank cares at this point? He's like, yep, no worries, I'll be fine. I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.
Not really. What they needed to do was get Plex in kind of like a full engage mode.
Yeah.
Where he can unleash his damage, but with Uzi there was kind of difficult, holding him off on the left flank.
I mean,
And
when you got 4 items, like 4 items on Plex, you're saying, yep, because he's backing right now to get it. Static? No. Stopwatch. Yeah, of course you need it at that point. This is going to be the final fight. While RNG pick up the Infernal Dragon.
So they didn't burn any key cleanse items from RNG.
Yep.
LNG, unfortunately, they're going to go for the Baron play. Wow.
They want to do this now. They do this quick, but they need Plex there to burn it down. 5k, ult not available from Gangplank. They're going to pick it up. LNG may have fought back in this game, but the disengage necessary.
How did they get home, though?
How indeed. Ming cutting them off. LNG caught through the river. They're going to try and back. Clement asked me again. Karsa with the flag and drag. The ulti, the turnaround. Cannon Barrage doesn't hit anyone. RNG are the ones getting low. LNG have the inner track. Xiahu dead! Pop Blossom! Down with the Cataclysm. The sickness over to LNG. RNG are dangerously low and Plex needs to carry. But can he 1v4? This is the struggle right now as LNG lose everyone. They jump onto Plex. RNG poke away. And LNG sent packing.
RNG only lose one person throughout that entire fight. Great play from Xiahu. Over the wall, 3-man, 2 carries, blows everyone up with the Karsa follow-up. And that was just a very clean team fight coming in.
A reason why we're highlighting Xiahu. Hits this moment, hits it hard. And RNG still showing they're not a team to be trifled with. A team that is heading towards playoffs, now 8-1.
They're catching up real quick to FPX. Only 1 match difference away from the top team in the LPL, and that was pretty clean. I wouldn't say the cleanest game, but it was pretty clean on their part. Going with the poke war, rushing LNG across the map, and this time around, I really like their patience with their side lane advantages. Yep. They knew they had such great catch potential on open ground. You saw the Iceborne Gauntlet plus Blade of the Ruin King from Ezreal. That was very easy for Uzi to chase up. Glacial Augment with double freezing items coming in from Xiahu.
Yep.
So every time LNG split up, they were punished for it.
You can see the friendship there between Uzi and Flande. Smiles on the face of RNG, especially Uzi. He had one of those Ezreal games again, Clement.
I wanted to see the 1v3. I know he had to protect the Baron,
the fact that he didn't die, I mean, that's good enough.
Okay. I'm just too greedy for the play.
No, it's okay, but like I agree. You know, Uzi was on. He was on his method in that game, and right now it's like, who can stop RNG? I asked the same question about FBX, and the fact that I'm saying this for Royal Never Give Up is a testament to how highly I rate them, how highly they're rated now in the LPL. Is this the RNG that goes to Worlds? A lot of people are saying they're one of the best representatives at the moment.
I really want to see RNG and FPX rematch again. They started really early in the season. FPX was able to take that one convincingly, but RNG has since then moved up a couple more steps. They look cleaner, they look more defined, and Xiahu looks woke. So,
he looks, what, did you say woke?
Yeah.
Yeah, Clement Xiahu. He does look woke, you're right. What are your outer thoughts?
Well,
I'm going to transition to LNG.
Okay.
Give me more about RNG before we do, because I've got some hard hitters on LNG.
You got some hard hitters.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear those.
Because that game, were you satisfied with Langx getting, you know, 1 gank and going from there?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm happy.
All right.
I'm happy. You know, I still want to see the Langx of old, but I'm happy with this configuration as well.
Good.
Like, at least they always give him a gank. It's like, oh, 20 CS behind. Karsa, it's time for you to go up there.
I'm just falling behind a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, he's there. At least Karsa's always giving the top lane some attention. You know, the biggest thing about RNG in the spring playoffs was that 10-0 game that allowed Zoom to walk away with no ganks going into the top side, and you're like, I don't think that's a successful strategy.
And now it's a different top laner, and you're like, okay, is it falling into the same strategy?
Yes, right? So at least they're keeping good checks on Langx. He can fall behind, but he's not going to be like 40, 50 CS behind. He's always going to be relevant. He's always going to have a part to play in the overall composition.
It's good to see he's confident as a player as well, right? Like Klepto Gangplank, we rarely see in the LPL. It's Grasp of the Undying that's constantly picked up because it's lane matchups too difficult, or because it's just a safer route.
It was a good matchup for it, and even though he fell behind early, like we expected him to in a range match, matchup like that. No barrels on that. Karsa came in right around this level 6 mark. Great fake out by Langx. I love that. That's really important pro play.
The head turn,
the head turn around, just like Flande, come back.
Okay.
So I'm happy with RNG's overall performance, and I think once again Xiahu far exceeds expectations.
Yep.
It's been one of the best players. I wouldn't say one of the best. I think he was just the best player in the previous 3 weeks.
I agree.
For RNG.
I mean, Karsa was, back and forth at least in that second game. There was some times where you're like, okay, Karsa just goes in, sacrifices his life, but all part of the plan. Whereas LNG, this is a conversation I want to have, because I said if LNG couldn't get a win at least off of RNG or FPX, I feel like they're going to struggle. They're going to go up against Suning, and that could be the make or break game. So far against RNG, wasn't that impressed by LNG. I'll be honest, there wasn't anything that stood out apart from a couple of small Plex plays, maybe Asura at times.
Yeah, and you have to feel like most of the successful plays they had this series was because RNG were kind of just trying to play it with them. Yeah. they're trying to fight fire with fire on a couple of occasions in that one. So if I have to rate LNG, I think they're in a transitional phase. You could see them trying something with their bot lane where they're going, okay, Maris Braum, let's hit this matchup hard. It's Uzi Ming, but it's okay. We have the better matchup here. But they don't have the early game coordination to really make these early compositions work.
Yep.
We haven't really seen an LNG game where it's like, you know what, let's snowball from minute 1 to the end game all the way, and let's do it from the bot lane to the rest of the map. They have been able to do it from the mid lane, but since the meta slowed down so much, like Silas is no longer a strong champion as he was. You're playing Azir and Corki now most of the time.
And he's like, okay, I'll just stick with this.
They need to find other ways to incorporate Plex into the composition rather than just like hard feeding his lane. Like force feeding him his lane early with the Silas and Rek'Sai. So that's a turn that LNG haven't been able to make, and they look very disoriented because of that. However, I actually am confident that they will find themselves out of this. Okay. I actually think they will have, because they have the pieces there. All they need to figure out is just how these actually click.
It matches, right?
Yeah, so Duan, just put him on initiation. SofM, he actually can gank early. Just try to gank that bot lane a couple times. Roam around with Duan. If they can do that, I think that's the way they solve their current messiness. Like
sometimes it just looks like they're rolling over and dying, right?
Yeah. Dropping 4 out of 5 of the recent matches, that's only 20% win rate. That's not what we want to see from them. I think the crucial thing for them is SofM roaming with Duan, getting a hit squad ready, getting an early game down, and maybe we can see LNG revitalize. That's my solution for them. I'm not sure they're going to take it or not, or if they can take it, but I still think they have the tools to make it work. It's just about getting the software wired up. Yeah,
it would look like an impossible matchup though against RNG, who give Xiahu MVP. And of course, after that game, why not hit the final Pop Blossom and ended the game once more.
77% kill participation. Xiahu's been hitting it in the team fights, and I just chuckled because I remember that play where SofM got him kicked back.
Yeah.
This was a highlight to finish the game. Good idea by LNG. They wanted to find that big objective, but no escape plan from them. And at the end of the day, they only trade 1 for 5.
Yeah, I mean, Plex was the one that did all the damage in this last fight as well. It was the final one to get taken out in RNG and clean them up. But both games, Xiahu had the combo-ending ult that ended the game. Game 1, it was even more impressive. Game 2, it was that final lockdown with almost 4 members. So there was good stuff here from LNG, but not good enough against RNG. Of course, another 2-0 for them. They're just punishing through as we go to another match of the week after this. EDG FPX hoping for more blood, more competition right after this.